welcome back to the channel. My name is Tim, and in today's episode we're gonna fix my rear end. Nope, not today. Today I get to learn a lesson. I did a racing diff conversion in an earlier video, and somehow I messed up somewhere because there was a whine coming from the diff. This actually seems pretty decent. But I didn't actually have room in my own garage due to the Malibu project, so I had to borrow my dad's garage. Little did I know that my dad would end up fixing most of the issues that would arise during the day. Everything went according to plan. I set up the camera, I raced the car, inspected it visually, started working on removing the differential, but I didn't make it very far before my dad would find a fault that I hadn't found myself. By simply spinning the drive shaft during disassembly, my father could hear something wasn't right.
Du skal løfte op og ned. Kan du mærke det?
Ja.
Så ved jeg ikke, om du kan dreje den en halv gang, og så prøve den anden vej. Sådan der. Ja, det er sgu noget der.
It turned out that the bolts for the U-joint had somehow come loose. I had been experiencing some drivetrain slack, and I think this was part of it. How I hadn't noticed myself, I don't know, but for whatever reason my dad noticed immediately that something was wrong. My father is very old, and he has some issues with the heart, meaning that he doesn't have much energy. But whenever I'm there at his shop, he always comes to help. Not that I actually ask for help, but he simply can't stay away, and as you'll see a little later on, he kinda saves the day for me, or at least makes it a lot more easy for me. I wonder if I can get the diff out like this. Time will tell. Okay, so the diff is out. Doesn't appear to have been leaking or anything. There's no signs of anything being wrong whatsoever. There is, however, still a diff whine, both when accelerating and decelerating, so something's not right with the gear pattern. But more importantly, I want to check up on how this diff, racing diff conversion holds up. Let's drain the oil, remove the cover, and then start inspecting it. The oil is very dark. Honestly, I was hoping to be able to reuse the oil. Being limited slip oil is quite expensive these days, but I don't think reusing this is a good idea. Oh crap. Looks like a lot of silver in the oil. Yeah, there's a lot of silver here. Not good. Things just got really interesting. Maybe a bit too interesting. Yeah. Not pretty. There's nothing out of the unusual. Why there's so much, it looks like it's metal flakes or dust, metal dust in the oil. I don't know, but I'm gonna clean it a little bit and then I'm gonna add some Perusian blue. It's for checking gear pattern. So let's try and do that. That's one revolution. That's two. Let's see if there's anything to see. On the coast side, the pattern seems to be focused on the toe. Let's try and spin it the other way. Whereas on the drive side, it seems to be focused more towards the heel. See? At this point, I kind of just wanted to check what the backlash is, being that there was so much metal dust in the oil. Now it would turn out that there were no backlash at all, but this is when my father reappeared and absolutely schooled me on what had happened. Now, when I tightened the pinion nut, I apparently didn't tighten it enough, sadly. And just by telling my dad about what the pattern looked like, at this point he hadn't even seen it, he immediately suggested that I probably just hadn't tightened the pinion nut enough. Zero backlash. My father is self-taught and he's been wrenching on cars for almost a lifetime, and he's never really used torque wrenches for anything but maybe bolting down heads or so everything's done by hand, and that's also how I was taught it when I was apprentice at his shop. But clearly in this case here with differential, which I did by hand, I didn't tighten the pinion nut enough. So my dad just suggested that I tightened it further and then it would all be good. And as it turned out, that was exactly what we had to do, just tighten it further, and then the gear pattern would change and all would be good.
Der er i hvert fald kommet mere, og jeg vil sgu give den lidt mere til dig.
Der.
Ja, det lyder bedre det der.
Jeg kan lige prøve. Now the pattern is actually more centered between heel and toe. Let's do the coast side. And that is also slightly more centered. Goes from 64 to 74, that's 0.1 millimeter. Okay, that's within spec. It's supposed to be 0.06 to 0.1 millimeter. Gear pattern seems to be a bit more centered towards the teeth, no, the foot and the heel, both on the drive side and the coast side. I'm gonna go with this. 45 Newton meters. My father just saved me a ton of time because my plan was to simply remove the crown wheel, the diff unit, and then measure the bearing, pinion bearing preload. Do adjustments, install the limited slip unit again, and then with marking compound check and see how the gear pattern and backlash then was. But doing it like this, just with my dad's experience, just saved me a ton of time. But from here on I started assembling it, but it wouldn't be the last time that my father would save me a lot of time. Now in the background he's messing with my drive shaft. I had watched a lot of videos on how to change the drive shaft bushing. In the end of the drive shaft there's a bushing that helps it center the drive shaft on the actual gearbox, and that bushing was shot. And there's honestly a lot of YouTube videos that show how to remove this bushing and also how to install it. And I had seen them all because, yeah, I've never done it myself either. But as it turns out, my dad decided to help, and pretty quickly he found a somewhat ingenious way of actually changing this bushing. His solution was to simply remove the inner part of the bushing, the rubber part, thus leaving the outer part, the middle part of the bushing intact, and then using a tab to make threads in the middle part of the bushing. And then once you were to fully tighten this tab here, it would also push against the drive shaft and thus ultimately push the bushing out. Extremely simple, extremely easy, super genius really. Genial. We then pressed in a new bushing and I assembled the rest of the car with no help. Sadly I couldn't drive it because the rain was out, but since making this video I have driven it, and there's no more diff whine, no more drivetrain slack. It drives a lot better now. The reason why I'm telling you all of this is because I was taught a valuable lesson of respect your elders. I came here to fix an issue I had created for myself by trusting too much in my own skills, and I ended up being humbled by my father. Now the truth is I probably won't ever be as good a mechanic as he was or is even. Coming back here with my E46 reminded me of the countless times he's humbled me with his self-taught skills, and with his age and heart condition there's no certainty he will ever do it again, so I take what I can get. He's from a world of carburetors and distributors, where I'm from the information age with coil-on plugs and fuel injection. So respect your elders, they can teach you a thing or two. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a nice day.